Often they have told their stories over and over again, and the people around here have heard the story, and now when new people come, they want to tell their story again, and there's something healthy about telling our stories, especially the stories of tragedies that these people experienced.
And we came to Louisiana, came down south. And my wife made me promise two things. First of all, if they said hurricane, we'd evacuate. And second thing, find out where the water line was at the last hurricane, and we'd get an apartment north of that. You'll see everything here in Houma is built around the bayou. One way on this side and the other way on the other side. Population of Houma right now is somewhere in the area of 120 to 125,000. A lot of the industry is related to oil tools, that type of thing. When in '88, when the oil industry went south, places like Houma like to dry it up because their whole economy was built upon the oil, and so it is now. You know, we're only about 50 miles from the coast here. We're south of New Orleans. But like you notice, most of this is flat land. So it doesn't take, it's not much to stop the water other than the levees that are on them.
When we made the move, we wondered why we did it, because a month later we had Katrina.
Well, when we heard the hurricane was coming, my neighbor across the street came knocking at the door at 4:30 and said, "Y'all better leave because water was coming."
Where I grew up, everybody had a car, vehicle. Here, there are a lot of folks that have no cars. They depend on mass transit and everything, buses and all that. And so when it come to leaving town, they just didn't have an option. And that's where a lot of the folks ended up at the Superdome. Most damage for New Orleans was water damage from the breaking of the levees. You'll see some wind damage, but it was minute, compared to when the levees broke.
As far as you could see, the houses were just complete piles of rubble.
Down toward Dulac, that area, some of those houses had 5, 6, 7 foot of water in them. And were underwater for a long time.
And not long after Katrina came Rita, and it brought 9 foot of water into our neighborhoods. And we wondered if we missed God.
See that seminary place sign? That was the water level back here. It was weeks before those folks could get back to their homes.
We went to Lockport to their house for about a week and a half. And then we came back home because the water there's no way we could have come back right away.
I still can't believe, I don't know what I would have done. I tried to put myself in that position, being like, what if this would have happened to me, where I'm from, what would I do? And I couldn't even imagine.
And when my son-in-law, my husband came, they said the floor was full of water. I had molding in the wall and everything.
Yeah, that's one of the major things, that the houses that were in water, and then the water drained, then it was mold and bacteria, and so you had to have all that removed.
The inside was bad. We lost everything. I had to buy everything, like icebox, washer, stove. We lost everything.
After the hurricane, sitting home, I was retired, and sitting home watching the stuff on the news, I knew I couldn't just sit there and do nothing.
I came with the Red Cross, And I stayed in Houma and was assigned to the shelter that had about 1,500 people, mostly from New Orleans.
Right after the storm, their hearts were really open, and the outpouring was amazing.
You'll see a lot of these little trailer parks like that that popped up after Katrina and Rita. Folks still living there 18 months later.
Last year they had groups coming all summer long, and that is dwindling down now, and there's still so much work to be done.
Yeah, it's lost its publicity, so maybe they're not getting so much government funding, and they're maybe relying more on donations and stuff.
See, a lot of these people have not started anything on these houses. Nobody's back.
Overall, I would say a lot of the worst hit areas are pretty much the same as they are a year ago. It really doesn't seem like a whole lot of work has been done on them. And I guess that's the case. The more poorer areas, they're on the bottom of the list, so.
A lot of these, and I'm not sure whether they have just got back utilities. One speculation was there's a block like 1 to 2 people out of the whole block back. And so some of them just thought it wasn't worth it, still boarded up and left.
And people have moved on. Yet here, the people in the bayous are still very much in need of help and getting their homes just to be fixed up so they can live in it.
Well, the molding, my husband was getting sick and the doctor said because of the molding. His lung was getting infected, but when you don't have nowhere else to go, But we came back home, try to do what we can. Then the Baptist church on Grand Collier was coming to this house, and then 2 young girls came and asked me if I needed anything. And then when they seen the house, they told John about it. And John came, he said, "I'm so sorry." He said, "I wish I'd have come see you." But then I think about 2 or 3 days after, they started coming working in the house.
We are here helping to paint several houses that were pretty well destroyed during Hurricane Katrina.
Ever since Katrina hit, I've wanted to come down to Louisiana and do some stuff, and I've never been given the opportunity before.
20 months later, which is a year after when I came, we drove through that area, and I think it's a lot better. There's still a lot of abandoned houses, many abandoned houses that just have markings, and no one's living there anymore.
Well, the devastation was a lot bigger than I thought. I had no idea. When Katrina happened, I was at home and I said a few prayers and things, but that was about it. But when you really get down here, it's just like, wow, there's a lot of people who've been affected by this.
Well, one, I expected it to be more cleaned up than it is. I was surprised that there were still signs of devastation in every area that we've been in.
It was sad, really, to see like the water line in all the houses and just what the people had to put up with.
When you see stuff on the news and the way the media portrays it and stuff, you can kind of distance yourself from what you're seeing.
I was just pretty can't really describe it, just there's no really words for it. I was just in awe and I couldn't really say anything, just going through all these houses and looking at them.
Because not that stuff doesn't go on in the United States, but it's just hard to believe that it happened.
For now, we're just repainting some people's houses that the wind and water damage probably messed up their paint throughout the years, and especially in the past, during the past 2 storms. And so we are, stripping, washing, and repainting these 3 houses, and maybe do some electrical work in the other house.
When we're not painting, we are also helping to do a little bit of yard work or going through their stuff and throwing some stuff away. There's a lot of junk and litter around here.